Hello and welcome. It is indeed Friday and it is the 6 o'clock club. Hey there, I'm Andy from Twisted Narrative, and I'm flying solo tonight for the 6 o'clock club. Um, so we're going to do a recap of the week. We're going to chat about this weekend's games, and if we've got time, we'll have a little chat about Sunday night's actual play. We've entitled it Improv. The players will be playing imps, and there'll be quite a lot of improvisation going on there, but I'll cover that in a little while. If you are in chat, please shout up. Kyle, how are you, sir? Thank you very much for shouting. Hope your day's been good, and thanks for saying hi. Um, so we'll start as we always do with this weekend's games. Um, so tonight, Friday night, we have our usual weekly game, Collateral Damage, starting at 7 o'clock, and we've got Ben, and we've got Charlotte, we've got Michael, we've got Stuart, we've got Ryan, we've got V, and hopefully we've got Richard, Felix permitting. Um, uh, 5th edition campaign, high level, 18th level. They are kind of coming to the end game, but it's going to be a very slow sort of build to that. So there's plenty of opportunities to sort of for play to play out. The party themselves is they like to role play, so we can have like entire sessions where they interacting with each other. It's a beauty to behold. And I was speaking to Michael, one of the players, just generally in front of a couple of other players about it, and they really throw themselves into the characterizations, and they don't super optimize their 18th level abilities to solve everything. They very much like to um, enjoy the content, as it were, rather than blast through it. I suppose very much if you play World of Warcraft, it's very easy once you've got a solid group just to run through one of the dungeons and not actually look at any of the graphics or any of the sort of role play aspects of it to achieve your quests and your goals. And that is not what Collateral Damage do. They like to soak up the ambience and enjoy the game in that kind of style of play, and it is very much a pleasure to behold. So very much looking forward to that tonight. Then we've got the full Saturday. Saturday we have 4 games, all of them actually 5th edition D&D. We start off at 10 o'clock with Dungeon of the Mad Mage, the classic pre-written campaign from Wizards of the Coast. The mega dungeon, basically. We have Anand, Ian, Pete, Joss, Jostling, and hopefully again Felix allowing Richard into that. And they have just defeated a number of big bads, so they are reaping the rewards of that, and going to speak with some individuals about their successes. So it's going to be a fun sort of role play session tomorrow. Deliberately being a little vague because it's a pre-written adventure, and whilst it's an old one, I don't want to give nuances or spoilers out about it, but very much enjoying that. And we've discussed it. It's very much a different kind of experience playing a mega dungeon to playing more of a role play um, sort of directed campaign. Although that says there's a ton of role play that can be got from Dungeon of the Mad Mage. If you take your time, there's a lot of factions you can get involved with, and they're all vying for power and the like. So very much enjoying it. Then that follows at 1 o'clock with Greyhawk Unbound. Again, I've always got a smile on my face with this. It's a very, very fun game to run. We have in there, we have John, we have Simon, we have Wayne, and we have Al. Great players, and it is very reminiscent of the sort of early Dungeons and Dragons, and I don't mean system-wise because it's definitely 5th edition, and I don't mean in terms of power levels or creep, but just in terms of the way that the players control their characters, and I suppose these days you would call it banter amongst the players and the like. It's a fun, light-hearted sort of game, and everyone around the table is very, very like-minded. They've also just entered the free city of Greyhawk. They're looking for the Rod of Seven Parts, which is a classic, a legendary artifact from earlier editions. And they've encountered one of the Circle of Eight, one of the powerful named mages, Okaluk. And they might get themselves drawn into some politicking. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. And then at 4 o'clock, we move to Tales of the Smoke, which Kyle is in. We've also got Cara, and we've got Ben, and we've got Marcus. This is great. I covered the Smoke last night in how I sort of developed it, and very, very much enjoying kind of delving back into the plot and revisiting NPCs and locations. Kyle says he's looking forward to the game, though you can't shake the feeling you're going to die when confronting, the Doctor. Well, I mean, I think it's unlikely if you do the right things. You know me, I don't actively. Sorry, this thing's gone a bit strange there. I don't actively seek to kill characters. But of course, if wrong decisions are made and the dice go against you, who knows what will happen. But yeah, you are seeking out a specific sort of NPC at the moment. Cara, who's also in the game, hiya Cara, is saying, and that's the spirit. It should be a fun one. I'm enjoying all of your characters, and I love the way that both of your two characters have come from the Spelljammer campaign and integrated yourselves at the moment into the Smoke. And I think there's a whole host more plot to be garnered from these characters. And there's a lot of subplots and everything else that you will undoubtedly get yourselves tangled in. And speaking of Spelljammer, that is our final game of the evening tomorrow night, which is Spelljammer Cosmic Rain. This was once our Icewind Dale group. They completed Icewind Dale, but instead of wanting to carry on with the characters, they felt they wanted to do something different. So rather than starting from level 1, we started at level 12. We did a little prologue, which was level 8, but then we jumped to the level 12. And they are brand new high level characters. The campaign's only really just started, and we do have one or two spaces left in that if anybody's interested. It is a high level campaign, but I kind of wanted to do something different with Spelljammer, not rip it apart. And sort of both Kyle and Cara know this in the game that we're in, but sort of mix it up a little bit. I love the background of Spelljammer, but once you start involving other sort of planetary systems, and it's a much bigger universe. So I kind of wanted to go full on sort of Guardians of the Galaxy with this. So the characters are larger than life, and it's quite a little bit sort of sci-fi, psychedelic, and I'm having a blast with it. In that, at the moment, we've got Jack and we've got Adam and we've got Sky. And as I say, we're looking for a couple of other players to jump in as well. If anybody is at all interested, let me know on Discord. You can find Discord obviously down, the link to Discord down in the chat there. Then move on to Sunday. Sunday's interesting this week. Two actual sort of games and then a stream. So we've got at 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock Mythical, and this Mythical has kind of turned into a little bit of a campaign now rather than standard one shots. The characters have hit tier 2, which is 5th edition levels, number 5 through to sort of 10, and they are uncovering all of the shenanigans of the Weird Eaters, these ancient entities that consumed the magic of the world and almost turned it into a desolate wasteland about 500 years ago. The name of this campaign now is Rise of the Weird Eaters, and yeah, they are coming back. So with Mythical being a particular very, very high fantasy game, obviously some things that drain the weave, the weird, the magic from the world is a very dangerous thing, and they are very keen to get to the bottom of it and to try and stop that from happening, understandably. In that game, we've got Anand, we've got Jack, we've got Casper, we've got Natasha, we've got Ian, and we've got Marcus as well. And then finally, my actual running of ticketed games comes to an end with our weekly game of Eberron. Hey Elsa, thanks for joining us. Just chatting about this weekend's set of games, and I'll do a week in review. So it is our weekly Eberron game. And in that, we've got Rachel, we've got Jenny, we've got Jocelyn, we've got Christian, and we've got Tony. We've also got Becca as well, who is running around the world at the moment with their career. So can't join us as often as we would very much like. But hopefully at some point they'll be able to jump back in. We miss you, Becca. We miss you a lot. We've spoken a lot about it because Christian's in the game, so he does an update. But they are currently in this card tournament, and there is this Rakmara, this entity that is consuming the look of the tournament, draining look at the moment, and they are trying to get to the bottom of it and finding out a way of how on earth they can bring it to an end. So that's the ticketed games for this weekend. I mean, it's 4, 5, 6, 7 games. So a slightly quieter weekend for me than normal. But that is because on Sunday night we have something new, and I'm incredibly nervous and anxious, but also super excited about it as well. It's a concept that hopefully will work called Improv, and it should run more or less like a normal tabletop role play game. I'll be the storyteller, the games master, the dungeon master, or whatever, and the players will be playing imps, hence the name Imp-Rov. But we will be throwing various things at them so that they will have to improvise, hence once again the name. It's designed to be a one-shot, but if it's fun, if we get some viewers, if everybody enjoys it, who knows, we might do more of them. It's a little bit of a trial really, and we will be asking for a little bit of audience participation, which again is going to be very much a sort of work in progress. If we get too much audience participation, it might get a little bit clunky to manage. If we get none, it might be just down to me to throw things at the players. So it's going to be an interesting one. In my mind, it's a cross between a role play game and um, I was going to say, Whose Line Is It Anyway? An old sort of improv TV program. Um, but it should be great fun. I've got the story sort of laid out. I'm leaning quite heavily into a tabletop role play game called Paranoia, um, reskinned for this infernal sort of setting. Um, but it should be very exciting. I say I'm very anxious because it's the first one. It's not a known entity. It's not really based off any existing systems. So there's a lot to sell without um, without you knowing what it's about. Cora says it feels a bit like a panto. It's behind you. Well, absolutely. I mean, I don't want to give everything away, but there'll be a number of ways chat can interact with the game. So the chat will be able to perhaps twist the narrative at an appropriate time. Um, this means that when certain things are happening, something else will happen instead. Um, they might well be able to force re-rolls. So if the characters don't roll successfully, they can re-roll again. And then because obviously the characters are playing imps, the imps are controlled by the Lord of Hell himself, or the Lord of the Nine Hells, Asmodeus. And there's something called Asmodeus Interrupts, where Asmodeus contacts the players and perhaps has either a word of advice or to administer some wisdom, sort of. So it's going to be fun. There'll be a lot of sort of potential agendas and secrets that the characters will have to sort of play up to as well. Um, all I can say is please tune in, have a look, watch it. It's going to be on Sunday night from 8 o'clock. It might last an hour, it might last a couple of hours. We will very much wait and see until um, it's literally we have no idea how it's going to go, which is quite an exciting prospect, really. I'm certain the players will have fun either way, and I'll have fun, and hopefully you can all jump in and enjoy it alongside us as well. Um, so, if you are in chat and you want to ask anything about improv or anything else, please do. We've had a very, very busy week this week, as always. Some good news. Matt's Kickstarter sort of funded earlier on the week. I think it's hit the second stretch goal now, which is very cool. Matt is helping me co-write some of the scenarios, some of the rule sets, and all of the other things that we're doing. So you'll be seeing a lot more from Matt and myself on Kickstarter very, very soon. Riddle of Rotwood should be going live on Kickstarter in March together with the miniatures. Very excited about that. And then we should be doing some of our own sort of twisted narrative stuff. Um, sort of in April, sort of launching really. Elsa says, delighted for him. Yeah, absolutely. Matt is a wonderful human being, and you'll get to see a lot more of Matt. We've got a few sort of actual plays coming up as well, and I've been working hard trying to work out how to schedule them on YouTube and creating thumbnails for it. So I've been doing a lot this week as well. So obviously there's improv that we've just been chatting about. That's on Sunday night. On Tuesday night, this coming Tuesday, which I believe is the 28th. Christian has volunteered to run an actual streamed play of Blades in the Dark. We've got Sarah and Rachel, myself and Matt in that, which I can't wait. I can't wait for. I'll actually be a player for the first time in a very long time, and I love Blades in the Dark. I love the world setting. It's an urban environment, and I'm very, very excited for it. So again, mark that in your diaries if you get a chance. Been busy sorting that out. And then Charlie from Shiver, he's volunteered to run a game on the 14th of March, an actual play again for Shiver. So you'll get to see how that game plays. And once again, I'm playing in that, Christian's playing in that, and Matt's playing in that. And another one of the designers from Shiver is also playing in it. I think it's one of the co-writers, Adam. So I'm very excited for that as well. But that's me playing in two games as opposed to running. So it feels strange but very interesting. In terms of other actual plays, we announced this week as well that we were going to be doing some Tales from the Smoke actual plays coming up very, very soon, which again I'm super excited about. But we're going to twist it somewhat in the fact that there'll be one shots set in the world of the smoke, but each one shot will have a different rule set. So we might be using, for instance, Blades in the Dark, or potentially Shiver, Vassen, Merkborg, Regency Cthulhu, to give different feels to different parts of the smoke. Also gives you as viewers a good chance of being able to watch different systems play out, so that you'll get an idea of how they play if you've not read them, but also a sense that, well, these are not super complex. So hopefully it will inspire you to give them a go as well. We'll of course be continuing with some 5e stuff as well for the smoke. Might even do a Pathfinder game set in the smoke. So all these actual plays will show you the setting of the smoke and the different sort of facets of it, but at the same time they will also be hopefully showing you new systems as well. I did work very much on a graphic for that as well. Again, that beautiful map as the backdrop, drawn by Liz there. And of course, Elsa, your twisted narrative logo, beautifully done. I'm loving it all, really loving it all. So yeah, it's been a very, very busy week. There's the map of the smoke as well. As well as that, this week we have also ran Vampire the Masquerade, which went very well. It raised a few questions, actually, interesting questions about sort of role playing, and I think we perhaps all suffer from imposter syndromes, and by that I mean we all view what we do as maybe not as good as it should be when it's absolutely fantastic. So that was an interesting sort of conversation to be had, and it might be a subject for a 6 o'clock club, in terms of, and I kind of mentioned this in the conversation, really, that and I do find this interesting. It's very easy for a GM to get carried away with a player that is the player itself has the gift for a gab and is very vocal and maybe very good at doing accents or very charming. But it's also very important for the GM to realise that if they're playing a social character, if they've got a high charisma or whatever, I mean, that's brilliant. Go for it. And you shouldn't discourage um, role playing, not at all. But just because the player is good at that, it doesn't necessarily mean that the character is good at that, and that should be borne in mind as well. And I equated it in this conversation to you um, that if someone's playing a very strong character and has got like a strength of 20 or whatever, you don't ask that player to go out and bench press the car just to prove that his character's strong. Because combat skills are kind of done with the rolling of the dice, and it feels like that's the best way to resolve them. You don't necessarily think that about social skills so much. You kind of think, well, I need to talk, I need to say all of the right words. And the simple answer is just like normal combat. No, you don't, because it's your character that is skilled at this, not necessarily the player. So it's very important, I think, as a GM, to encourage role playing, but also to have that healthy sort of view of if someone's playing a bard but doesn't really want to be super vocal bard, um, because they are sort of shy at the table or don't feel comfortable with the group, that they can roll for those persuasions and charms and the like, because that is what their character is good at. Um, but I think quite a lot of time it does become overlooked because it's so much easier to do social stuff around the table than it is to do physical stuff around the table. So that was quite an interesting spin-off conversation. Elsa says the group are amazing. I don't mind you talking about the stuff that you raised. No, I think it's a fascinating subject and something that is easily forgotten. The group, the Vampire Group, is an amazing group of players, very generous with their time, and they very much like listening to the other characters' plots, which we've kind of covered before with when you split a party, it's only a problem if you've got one person doing everything and everybody else being very bored. If everybody else is engaged with what is going on, it's not so much of an issue. Um, so yeah, that was Tuesday. I mean, Wednesday we didn't really run anything. We are gearing up for every other Wednesday and every other Tuesday to be doing actual plays, starting next week. So I had a bit of um, an opportunity to do even more work, basically, with doing all of this graphic design and everything else on Wednesday night. And then Thursday, which is literally only last night, we ran Call of the Netherdeep, and great fun. Unfortunately, quite a few people couldn't make it, so we only had 3 players. We had Jack, Michael, and Connor. Um, and it was a blast. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly read chat. Andrew says, "Yeah, it's nice when the players are aware of spotlight management, so the DM has to do it a bit less." Oh, absolutely. Generous players that are very uh, happy to let other characters have their moment and enjoy the story. Um, it makes for a substantially easier table to run, because you don't feel as a GM that you are sort of trying to rush that little bit along so that you can sort of get the party back together again. I think it works better for some systems than other systems, but it's a difficult one and something that is always on my mind. You kind of want everybody to be entertained, and sometimes, and I I advise this is if it's going to be an issue, it's like you just have the conversation openly around the table. Look, do you like splitting the party? Are you happy for people to take time with their characters, or would you prefer to sort of stay together as a group? And once that's put out there and kind of pointed out to them, um, you can discuss it maturely around the table and find out what works best at that particular table. And I'm very, very aware with the amount of games I run. Each table is different. Each table has a different vibe, different energies, different aspirations, wanting to get different things out of a game. And that can be for the same systems. And sometimes the vibe at a table can actually change as well. You know, if everybody's had a bad day at work, maybe they don't want to do huge amounts of politics. They want to throw down, they want to draw their swords, roll some dice, and cause mayhem. Other times, everybody's tired. What they actually want to do is have a few drinks and chat in character and have a little bit of a laugh with their friends. So it's I never open a table or start a game with any kind of real sort of idea of, well, we're going to do this tonight. Of course, I've prepped, but I always kind of try to listen and gauge, be empathetic with the feel of the table, so that we know, oh yeah, these really want to do some battling tonight, or no, these want to sort of kick back and do some social stuff, or these want to do more exploration. Those are extremes, obviously, but sometimes it's a combination of those three sort of pillars, but sometimes it's more skewed to one side or another. Part of the skill of a GM, really kind of trying to gauge what the actual players want at any given moment. Uh, Sometimes you get it wrong, uh, but if you're aware of it, at least that is good. Anyway, last night, three players: Michael, Connor, and Jack, in Call of the Netherdeep, the Critical Role published book. Um, yeah, they did some awesome role playing. They descended down into Betrayer's Rise, which is a little bit of a little bit of a spoiler, but not too much. And they did incredibly well, all things considered, considering they were short-handed. Um, we've kind of ended it on a little bit of a climactic one, so that hopefully when the other players, James and Joe and M, can join them in 2 weeks' time, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks last night, um, we can go straight into the action again. But very, very excited to see. So yeah, that's that. I mean, it's kind of strange, really, when I kind of say the week in review, and I kind of realise it. Whilst it's Friday, I've only run 2 games so far. The third game's going to be tonight, and then there's the bulk of the games over the weekend. So it's all to do. My weekends are busy, and I'm super excited, as I say, for Sunday night's actual play as well. Well, there we go. I think a slightly shorter one tonight, because we've covered all of the conversations and stuff. Gives me a few moments to catch my breath before I start with collateral damage at 7 o'clock. Hello, Simon. You've just arrived, and I am just about to go. Unless you can give me any words of wisdom or ask me anything that can keep me talking for a little bit longer. Simon is in our Saturday game, Greyhawk. I'm very much looking forward to sort of playing that. I'll give I'll give Skill a few moments to see if there's anything that they want to ask me, and if not, I'll bring tonight's club to a close. I will just flash up this. This is the thumbnail that we have done for Sunday night Improv, live on YouTube, 26th of February, 8 o'clock start, starring Jocelyn, Michael and Jack, Master of Ceremonies, me in all my glory. Very, very excited. I think Skill has basically said, thanks for all the fish and see you later. Yeah, I mean, that is about it then. No, thank you very much for hanging out with me. I hope that's been of interest, a little bit of recap of the week and some thoughts on things that have occurred. As I say, no clubs on Friday or no clubs on Saturday or Sunday, I mean. But of course, we do have improv on Sunday night, which I hope people can join. Please, if you haven't already, give us a like and a subscribe. You can do that just down in the bottom right hand corner of the stream there. That really helps us out. And I very much hope that you have a glorious weekend all. Whatever you are doing, hopefully I shall see some of you in some games, and if not, I will catch you all hopefully on Sunday night for improv. Believe me, I think you will be entertained. Toodaloo, thank you very much everybody, take care. I will catch you all next time. See you later everybody.